right, hello wine drinking people. Time for more of what I've had to drink yesterday, and our friends from Southern Wine and Spirits were in with Michael Schrock wines, and this is a really eclectic portfolio of wines, but I have to say, some outstanding wines, and the wines of Germany and Austria, not actually household names, but the producers that these guys have, if you know German and Austrian wines, the best portfolio you will find out there, along with Terry Thies. And this is, we started out in champagne. Hey, I'm always willing to start with champagne or end with champagne. It's one of those beverages that I think you can work in at the beginning, in the middle, or at the end, anywhere you want to drink it, actually, breakfast, lunch, dinner. And this is one of the small grower producers, Margaine, which I'd never heard of. This is a rosé here, the Rosé Brut 3/4 Chardonnay and a 1/4 Pinot. And they use still red wine, like most people do, to make rosés today in Champagne. Very few people use the Saignée method. It's much easier to keep a consistent color from year in, year out. And I love the fact that they put the disgorgement date on the back label. November of 2012, making this wine, mostly 2010 for the most part. And of course, they put some reserve wines in from usually the last two vintages, 09 and 08. This one had a lovely smoky note to the nose, some lovely light red berry fruit, pretty floral notes, lovely creamy texture on the tongue, nice silkiness to the bubbles there, and a solid core of that red berry fruit, and some of that minerality you get from Champagne, that chalky nuance. Excellent juice at $60.50. All right, next up we have the Heidi Schrock Weinbrauerin and Rust Sauvignon Blanc from Burgenland, which means Austria, and this is a Sauvignon Blanc, and it's got a good amount of that melon and fig kind of fruit to it. Some pretty white floral notes, not like the New Zealand style that you get. This wine is heavily influenced by this shallow lake of water that's very close by. And supposedly the lake in some parts is just only a few inches deep, but for some reason it remains a body of water without drying out. Anyway, so you do get some botrytis in this region for that reason, because of the water, but it's not every year that they get it, so they can make this wine just a couple times a decade, or a half a dozen times a decade, because of this botrytis, which they make a sweet wine out of the wines when they get the botrytis. Anyways, a nice amount of spice to this wine, some green melon fruit in the tongues, that minerality showing through on the finish, a very bright style of Sauvignon Blanc. Very good little wine at $30.75. The problem with Austrian wines is the price. They're very expensive. I think per bottle, the most expensive wines in the world. They don't make any cheap wines in Austria for the most part. Anyways, we had the Gobelsburger Gruner Veltliner next from Kamptal. This is a single vineyard Gruner from a 1,000-year-old estate. Some very old estates here, just like in Germany, and some nice forward fruit, dry and refreshing. This one's got that lovely melon rind that you get from Gruner Veltliner, a touch of that white pepper and some floral notes. Nice concentration of depth here on the tongue with that crisp green melon fruit showing through, pretty floral notes, some white pepper spice. Excellent juice at $17. Wow. All right, next up, the Nigl Gruner Veltliner Alte Reben, which means old vines, very old vines, of course, in this blend here, and aromatic, some lavender floral notes showing, some pretty, you get that ripe kind of melon rind note, green apple fruit here, nice richness on the tongue. This one's got that salty kind of minerally nuance showing through on the finish, a little brighter, a little more acidity, that white pepper spice there, also a longer finish, a little more nuance. This is excellent juice at $41.75. All right, the Weingut Spreitzer Riesling Rosengarten. This is one of the new GG wines, the new classification they have in Germany, Grossgewächs, which we don't have a huge demand for the drier style of Rieslings in Germany yet, but that is what's popular there today. And this is a very aromatic wine. You get that lovely white peach fruit, that hibiscus floral note, honeysuckle, that distinct minerality you get from the Rheingau, very different from the Mosel. A good amount of green apple and peach fruit on the tongue, that zesty minerality leading into a long mineral lace finish, zesty lime citrus, and that really tongue-tingling effect you get from dry Riesling. Excellent juice, just leaves your tongue salivating for food like Sauvignon Blanc. $42.50 for this wine. Next up, we've got a Riesling from the Kamptal, kind of going back and forth from Austria and Germany. This is the town of Zobing. And there's 3 vineyards here that go into this wine. Get a bit of that petrol nuance showing in this wine. That starts to develop after a couple years in the bottle with Rieslings. And it's got that lime, citrus, fruit, and peach you get. Nice richness on the tongue, a nice creamy texture to this wine. And some peach and apple fruit here as well. And a nice hand of acidity cleaning things up there. Excellent juice at $26.25. All right, the Straub Riesling. Thai, Nieders, Hippling, Rheinhessen. Problem with German wines, the damn names are so long, and Tongue twisters, man, let me tell you. I murdered that one. Anyways, green apple fruit showing some nice white flowers and wet stones. A nice amount of perfume here on the nose. Nice complexity. And it doesn't seem to matter what the price is on these wines, man. I liked all of them. And, you know, from $20 to $40, to me, the quality is not that different here. This wine's like biting into a fresh apple, that fresh floral note you get from the nose showing through on the finish, some nice perfume. Excellent juice, again, at $22.50. I mean, I like this wine almost as much as all of the other Rieslings here. The John Jost Christoffel Urban Erziger Würzgartner. This is a Riesling Spätlese, so more traditional style wine, and 2010. Well, they've had a string of great vintages in Germany. So this is one of the most famous producers, though. All red slate here. You get that nice honeyed green apple note to the nose, exotic spices, ginger, touch of that petrol slate-like quality coming out here. Lots of richness on the palate. This wine's got some residual sugar here, but firm hand of acidity to match, cleaning up that sweetness here. A good amount of that slate mineral quality showing through the finish. Most excellent juice at $36.75. That was the wine of the tasting for me, and that's what we had to drink with our friends from Skurnik. I'm your host, Andrew Lampasoni, signing off for the Wine Watch, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.